We are no longer our child's only influencers. In fact, we're no longer even the loudest. Your child is being courted, yes, courted by thousands of voices, all competing for their attention, affection, and loyalty. If that sounds dramatic, good, because it is. And if we don't respond with clarity and purpose, we risk losing the deepest connection we have with our kids, their hearts. And in this episode, I'm going to apply my decade of experience as a child and adolescent psychiatrist, father of 7, ages 16 to 1, and content creator with millions of impressions and over 100,000 followers among platforms to help you understand what no one is saying out loud to start practically moving towards strengthening your connection with your child. Are you ready to jump in? Let's get to it. Let's begin with the truth that should change how we parent. Attention is the currency of connection. We pay attention. It costs something. And right now, we're not the highest bidders in our children's lives. Media platforms, games, algorithms, even the design of apps, these are engineered not to inform, but to engage, not to teach, but to consume. The goal is simple. Keep your child watching, scrolling, reacting long enough to shape their beliefs, behaviors, and even their identity. And unfortunately, we've unintentionally cooperated. We hand them the screens as solutions to boredom, to laziness, or even just long grocery lines. Not because we don't love them, but because life is full. We're stretched, and screens, well, they work too well. But here's the cost. When our children's deepest questions, who am I? What matters? Who can I trust? Are answered more often by TikTok than by us, we begin to lose the sacred ground of influence. And before we get to the science of connection and influence, I'd like to connect you with the sponsor of today's video who also cares about embodying the love we hope to share within family life, and that's Be Well Collective Apparel. Check out the Try Again apparel line, which features my catchphrase that reminds parents to assume the best of their young kids by inviting them to practice this style of conversation that helps us to meet their hearts where they are. Check them out in the link in the show notes in the description to support the movement. Now, back to me. Now that you have the vision of how central attention is to connection, I want you to try this on. Do this imagination exercise with me. You're trying to deepen your relationship with your spouse. You want to feel closer, connected, prioritized. But every night at dinner, you invite someone else to sit with you. Someone who's smoother than you, more charming, more exciting. They never forget a compliment. They always seem to agree. They never get tired or irritated. Now, imagine doing this night after night, week after week, year after year. You'd never do that in your marriage, right? Yet, that is exactly what many of us are doing with our children. We're inviting in the competition every time we default to devices. We allow the most curated, optimized, and seductive voices to occupy the mental and emotional space where we're supposed to be building trust, values, and belonging. So here's what neuroscience tells us. Every time your child receives a like, a ping, or a perfectly targeted video, their brain releases dopamine, the reward chemical. Over time, the brain adapts. It craves shorter, more intense hits of stimulation. This rewires attention, memory, and even our motivation, especially in young brains that are still developing. But that's not all. Mirror neurons, the brain's empathy circuit, develop through face-to-face interaction. They're activated when your child watches your expression, your body language, your emotion. So when we trade real-time, in-person connection for endless digital engagement, we're not just missing moments, we're missing formation. And before I share with you a sneak excerpt from my book and the tools to get started fixing this particular problem, I want to take a moment to thank our sponsor, Bark. If you're looking for a way to safely and securely monitor your child's presence on their phone, as well as get practical advice on parenting in the tech age, check out my discount code for Bark. They offer an amazing app and even have devices preloaded that both look like a typical modern phone, but they're equipped with the most up-to-date monitoring software that I've come to trust for my kids and my family. As you know, Bark is the only phone my family has trusted as our kids have climbed the heights of independence, and it's the only device I trust. Check them out in the show notes or the description below. Now, let's get back to the show. Now let's go even deeper. In the book that comes out this fall, I wrote, "We have settled for colonizing our homes with our competition." I know, that's strong language, but it's real. What once were safe havens for identity and attachment have been occupied by platforms with no loyalty to your family, your faith, or your child's well-being. We didn't invite them because we didn't care. We did it because we were overwhelmed. And when we couldn't give our kids enough of us, we handed them something that felt like a substitute. But here's the problem. The substitute doesn't care about your child's soul. It cares about screen time, about profit, and about clicks. And worst of all, it's slowly training our children to believe their worth is tied to their performance, their image, and their attention online. And worst of all, it's slowly training our children to believe their worth is tied to their performance, their image, and their attention online. So here's what we have to remember. The parenting-child bond is not self-sustaining. It actually needs to be watered and nurtured. It needs time, it needs attention, it needs presence. Your child's heart doesn't just drift towards love, it drifts towards whatever constantly pays attention to it. So if we want to hold the hearts, we must pay attention, fully, regularly, sacrificially even. That's not just a poetic phrase, it's a parenting strategy and a mission. Because if we don't, someone else will. So on that encouraging note, what's the antidote? All right, here's the takeaway. Be the most engaged voice in your child's world. Reclaimed shared meal times, prioritize the eye contact, make time for boredom with them, slow down your schedule to make space for presence, and most importantly, guys, speak identity over them. Not what they can produce, perform, or post, but who they are becoming. Because in the battle for their hearts, your presence is still the most powerful force. Your love, your interest, your delight, these are what anchor a child's soul against the digital tide. So here's my challenge for you. Start paying attention on purpose. Give your child what no screen ever can, a parent who sees them, knows them, and fights for their heart. Thanks for tuning in, my friends. If this message resonated with you, do me a favor, like this video, subscribe, and share it with another parent who might need this reminder. Let's keep growing together. Don't forget to send me your questions and be among the first to know when the book is released this fall. And as always, remember there's no connection quite like your connection. Shout out to my favorite producer and DJ, my eldest son, who goes by Slip Shuffle. And as always, my friends, be well.